While starting this procedure, we're going to notify the engineer on watch, and then we're going to, in order to isolate the system, then we need to close the inlet valve and then the outlet valve located on the sea strainer, if there is one. In this case, there is no inlet and outlet valve, there's only a crossover system. So we're going to loosen up the top as I'm doing in this video, and then I'm aligning the crossover, and then I'm wiggling it back and forth to loosen up any debris, and then you tighten back up the system and you ensure that it is crossed over to the other strainer in place. And then you crack loose the bolts from the cover, and you want to do it one at a time. You want to crack loose, and then they're going to be finger tight after that, and then you can take them off. Remove the cover and the gasket, and then you remove the strainer slowly to keep any sea life and debris in the strainer. And then we want to clean the strainer. So I cleaned the strainer with water and then this brush here, and I was just brushing off any sea life or debris that was caught in the strainer. Notice you can see a plastic bag that I just pulled out right there. Once the strainer is free of all debris, then I'm going to place the clean strainer back into place. But before doing this, I'm gonna check with the light to see if there's any sea life down inside the system. Placing the strainer back into place. And then I placed the cover back on, and then the gasket was already in place, and it was relatively new because the sea strainer was replaced last week, the gasket was. Then I placed the bolts on. And if you notice, I'm wearing short sleeves in this. That is because I'm right next to the ship's shaft, and I do not want to wear long sleeves next to the ship shaft in case it gets caught. Proper PPE is long pants, steel-toe boots. I'm wearing noise-canceling muffs to protect my ears. Right now I'm tightening up the bolts. Hand tight first, and then we're gonna just go in the direction. You just tighten a bolt at a time, trying to get all the leaks out. So now I'm tightening down the bolts with the ratchet. Good engineering practice is to make a new gasket whenever you take a piece of machinery or equipment apart that requires a gasket. You make a new one to prevent any new leaks from forming. We also did other cleaning sea strainers on the vessel, and by we I mean the cadets aboard, and there was lockout tagouts that must be placed on valves if the system needed to be isolated if there was no crossover in place. It's important not to over tighten one bolt too much, then you're gonna have a leak. So you need to tighten them evenly. And then I'm loosening up the valve on top, so then I can move the crossover back to check for any leaks. I tighten it down, and then we check, there's no leaks. And then the system is back in operation, and then I can notify the engineer on watch that the operation is complete.